about that. I had,
as a white man, I just can't understand why people are offended. Like I don't get
you
that.
can't. I bet you can't.
It's your.
We have established that God loves me more than both of you. That's been established.
Listen, it's kind of like how
Hashtag
Batman's superpower
God's
is white privilege.
white.
Oh my God. So
sorry, Carl. I didn't mean to talk over you the whole time.
I was just saying.
Go ahead, Carl.
It's fine. No, I was just saying that it's kind of like the whole deal with Batman. His only superpower is white privilege. Like you know what I'm saying? That's true.
Dog, I tell you, Batman, Justice League would be the greatest movie ever if when Flash asked what his superpower was, he said I'm rich. If he said I'm white.
I'm white.
I swear to God, that'd have been the greatest movie ever.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Hit my music!
Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
You are now listening to the SMC Wrestling Podcast with your boys, the Smart, Caleb Baldwin, the Mark, Carl Irvin, and the Contrarian, Rance Morris. Believe in the pod.
Hello, and welcome to the December 6th edition of the SMC Wrestling Podcast. As always, I am 1/3 of this lovely triad. I am Caleb. With me, as always, is one Carl Irvin. Carl, what's up?
Not much, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty great. Better than my internet. So yeah.
Yeah. I know you've had some internet issues. Yeah, man.
That just means I'm not doing terrible.
Yeah. Doing good. Excited to talk about some pretty cool stuff that's been going on in the world of wrestling this week. So let's do it.
Hell yeah, Rance. Let's not forget about Rance here. Our third man, the wind beneath our wings, Rance Morris.
Your resident black guy is what you were gonna say.
I was not going to say that, sir. I am very woke.
I'm good, man. Forgive my voice, everybody. I got a bit of a cold, so it might not be the strongest tonight, but I'm here. We're gonna make it work.
Yeah, you're damn right. Let's skip the preamble. Let's skip the BS. Let's get right to it, man. Bray Wyatt now has a new rival in one Woken Matt Hardy. Rance, you want to walk us through, Rance or Carl, either one of you, does one of you want to walk us through, what is going on now, how we got here, so on and so forth, real quick?
I got you. Yeah. I think it's funny. Speaking of being woke, so if you've paid attention over the past, I'd say month and a half, Matt's been getting his ass whooped significantly. Been losing matches to people he shouldn't have lost to. Braun Strowman beat the living fuck out of him. And just like when Matt Hardy originally broke, because Jeff stupidly broke his leg on a damn motorcycle, it took for Jeff to be hurt and for Matt to be on his own to finally be awoken. So last week, he went crazy with the delete chants. And this week, talk about the cheesiest shit ever that actually worked. Bray had a promo in the back that kept getting cut out by Matt. And back and forth. And I never really realized how stupid Bray sounds until I heard him talk with Matt. It is hilarious. Like I'm a Bray supporter. Been one since NXT. He just sounds like he's just saying some dumb shit. When Matt Hardy shit is sounding more competent than you, the hell you talking about? But I'm so here for it, dog.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay,
gosh,
so
dude.
I want to hop in real fast. So yeah, you're right, and me and Caleb, you and I had a conversation on the tweeter machine about, you had tweeted something out about how the American Badass Undertaker gimmick was greater than the Phenom.
I agree, by the
Right?
way. I
Because
agree.
it is.
I know, yeah.
Yes.
I know, yeah. And first of all, that's an opinion, so don't say that. I'm trying to help you here, okay? But I think this is one of those situations, right? Because Rance is talking like how cheesy this promo was and how awesome it was because of its cheesiness. And that is kind of, for me as a wrestling fan, I think this will help you understand why I'm a Phenom guy over an American Badass guy. The cheesier, the better sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, the Phenom thing was cheesy. He's the dead man and all this dumb shit. You know what I mean?
The operative word you used is sometimes, though. Let's not forget that.
I would still say, for me, like, you've got to be, like, I love quirkiness in wrestling. That's always been a thing for me. It keeps me interested because I'm not all about, like, this got to be this serious. Like, wrestling, to me, I never take it truly seriously in the way that other people do. I just don't, you know, because if I do, then I'm dealing with this whole, like, you take oily men running around in the ring and wrestling each other seriously? No, I don't.
Why does every voice you do sound like Vince?
I don't know. I can't help it. But I don't. So I don't, you know. So my perspective at wrestling is different, which is why I'm never angry about it.
Sure.
So just I just wanted to connect that for you a little bit, Caleb, because I didn't really get it. It's harder to do that on the damn 280 characters or whatever it is on Twitter.
So if I can stick up for my brother Caleb here.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I don't do that often. So this is an important moment.
This is
rarity.
This is new. This is new. You guys are listening to an exclusive on the SMC Wrestling Podcast.
So with the American Badass versus Phenom thing, the Phenom, or the Dead Man rather, you're right when you say that you like quirky things. Original Dead Man was quirky until he became the Devil in 97, 98. And then that part was cool because he tapped into a more realistic part and became a bigger part of the gimmick, which was cool for the time. And then the Dead Man after American Badass was just another dude, right? I don't mean that from a disrespectful point of view. The reason the American Badass works for me and Caleb is because he actually had a chance to be a person. He actually had a chance to show emotion.
Sure.
To cut promos.
It's the closest we ever got to see to Mark.
Yes.
Right.
And that's why I loved it.
That's yeah.
But
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. For this is in my opinion, this is the exact opposite. Because we've seen Matt since they were sneaking Jeff in underage to bump for Razor Ramon. Right? So we know everything about Matt Hardy. We know everything about him. From the actual Matt Hardy, whereas we knew everything about The Undertaker. We didn't know about Dead Man Inc., the American Badass, because that was such a small blip. And this broken or woken Matt Hardy is a small blip that we're getting a chance to know, right? So I think that's why things are always interesting when a person can reinvent themselves and do it in a way that is unlike anybody expected. And me and Caleb had this conversation earlier because, I'm a TNA hater. I am because I hate the company. I think they're an absolutely abysmal company. But I think it's interesting to see something that worked in TNA, even at their worst period, and to see a competent company like WWE try to give it a whirl. So I'm completely excited to see Matt, and it doesn't just feel like this is what it had to be. It feel like Matt had to go against Bray at some point, right?
Yeah, maybe so.
I agree. I wanted to, go ahead, Caleb. Yeah, you haven't talked yet. Go ahead.
So, Rance, I'm going to tell you what. I have a bit of cautious optimism and not full in excitement approach to Woken Matt Hardy thing, and for me, that exists because one of the major contributing factors to the magnificence of Broken, one Jeremy Borash, is still Impact Wrestling. He's not here to oversee the Woken angle or help with the Woken angle. But that's where my like cautious optimism comes in. I'm still hopeful, like on anything.
Well, no diss to Jeremy Borash. No diss to him because dude's amazing at his job. But I trust the WWE guys a little better. And the one thing that WWE will be able to do better than Impact ever was able to do is they'll be able to produce it much cleaner, much nicer. So like when they have a Great War or Final Deletion or whatever they choose to do, you can the production value is gonna be top notch.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that, and you know, I have faith in it. If nothing else, dog, Matt Hardy fought so damn hard for it. He's not gonna just let it fall and just go
Absolutely.
away, right? He fought hard as hell to
Absolutely.
get it, so he's gonna make sure that it's utilized correctly and properly.
And you would
Well,
hope it is, and you would think it is, because that's kind of why the Hardys got signed.
100%.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Here's another thing to think about. There's no way in hell, okay, the WWE is going to, like, first of all, think about Matt and his perspective. He's fighting for this gimmick. Why? Because he wants to use it in WWE. Why? Because they believe in the gimmick. If WWE was like, hey, you know, we're not going to use this anyway, we don't really believe in it on our programming, I'm not saying Matt would have given it up, but I don't know that he would have fought as hard, you know, because he already knows it's a losing cause, other than like in terms of like maybe selling some extra merchandise down the road or whatever, you know. But to me, this shows with Matt fighting for it and the WWE instantly going to it, basically the second we found out the case was dropped, that the company believes in it. And obviously we know, you know, the production, of course, like Grant's alluded to there. I mean, you know the production's value is going to be fine. It's a matter of what they're going to let Matt do in terms of his creative freedom. And as far as I can tell, this is just as cheesy as it's ever been. So to me, this whole, like, it's almost like a B movie kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
This whole B movie feel to it is exactly what they're going to let him do. I'm not saying that WWE couldn't fuck it up, but I don't think they will, because I think they're going to let Matt kind of do what he wants within like certain boundaries. You know, with even with that gimmick in TNA, he wasn't really crossing any line necessarily. So I don't see a situation where WWE is going to neuter this, you know, because Matt kept it pretty straight laced for the most part, you know, unless you want to count the Final Deletion or whatever when, you know, he shot the fireworks and Matt was like, oh shit, you know, like those kind of things.
The
like,
dilapidated boat.
Right, but I think
it's a dilapidated boat.
I still think some of those things will be left, you know, just maybe not the bleeping out of whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but I just don't see. I don't have like. I'm not really worried about it, because I think that if you watched that segment last night, you cannot tell me that wasn't as cheesy or cheesier than damn near anything that he did prior with that gimmick. It was just as cheesy, just as ridiculous.
No, it's not quite just as ridiculous, because the stuff on Impact was like next level cheesy ridiculousness.
Well, this is just one promo though.
No,
this is just like a little
Carl,
snippets of a promo.
No, when you have a drone flying around and a drone pins a grown man in a match,
well,
no, dog.
Yeah, but listen, we haven't gotten to the matches yet. We're just talking about the first promo.
By the way,
necessarily no. Yeah.
By the way, I think we all need to admit that the beauty of the angle is that it's really a terrible angle. It's just as hilarious because they do it so crazily.
Oh,
this is
it's
yes.
It's the Toxic Avenger of wrestling for
yeah,
sure.
100%.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing about that also. Think about this. Like, okay, the thing I love so much is there's been universal support. Like, he came back, and you haven't really heard anybody bitching. I was worried, honestly, that because he's woken Matt and not broken Matt, that there was going to be some bitching about that. Honestly, because that's the kind of thing that
fans bitch
wrestling
about,
fans love to bitch about, something like that. But I think maybe this is the one time where they're
Well,
like, actually,
if
this
I don't
makes
have
sense.
my BR instead of my W, I'm gonna
Right.
be so mad.
Yeah, pretty
This
much.
is, to me, this is kind of very like, they kind of understand it the way I understand it, you know? Like, of course he's woken, because he went back to being regular Matt, you know? And now something happened, and I was like, oh yeah. And then he wakes up, and now he realizes he's fucking crazy still. So it works out, you know?
Can we talk about one major point we haven't talked about before we move on?
Sure.
Yeah.
How many people are the biggest hypocrites and liars in the world? Because none of us watch TNA, but everybody loves all of a sudden the Elite and House Hardy. We all love them now, but none of us watch the shit.
I did, sir.
Well, you don't count because you're Impact's #1 fan. Like Don West calls you every
Whoa.
Friday. You don't count. But
Yeah.
you know, like,
you wouldn't fit in this conversation.
no, like, don't get me wrong, because I bought Bound for Glory the year that Jeff and this man Matt side affected Jeff through a piano. It's just like the dumbest stuff. But I bought that pay-per-view because I was so into the gimmick because it was interesting. But how many
Yeah.
of us didn't watch it? But now, like when it came out to WrestleMania, the whole crowd, delete, like 70,000 people.
Well,
We're
here's the thing,
hypocrites,
though.
man.
Well, here's the thing. I'll give a little bit of defense to the hypocrites on this, because I will say, for me personally, I would never have stumbled across this had it not been for, now Caleb didn't introduce me to this necessarily, but someone on a website or a forum did. And the thing is, like, I still to this day do not watch TNA, but when that was going on, I was introduced to it, and so I was like, I usually try and trust wrestling fans. I know it's crazy because I shit on them all the time, but I still try and trust them. Like, if someone says, hey, check this out, I'm down. You know, I'll go look at it. And so I was like, when I first heard this, it wasn't just check it out. It was like, oh my God, you got to see this shit. This is ridiculous. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I'm down. I'll check it out. And I've watched all of it, you know, from the TNA. I've got a video playlist that someone put out the other day that I could go through and watch everything, basically. And so I'll defend them in this. There's a good chance that a lot of people were more privy to this than you might think, just because they might have known someone who was like, you gotta check this out. This is so fucking ridiculous. But that would be the only reason.
Yeah, I'm just saying it never added to their business.
Oh, yeah, well.
So,
Caleb?
yeah, you want to
You
add
gotta
anything to it, or you want to move on?
Anybody need to add anything to this?
No, let's leave it there, pal. Let's talk about another guy on Raw. Let's talk about Jason Jordan, man. Kurt Angle comes out to start the show, says he wants a new challenger for Roman Reigns. He's gonna name that guy, and then Jason Jordan comes out acting like the most entitled millennial I've ever seen in my life, pal, saying, you gotta give me that match, Dad. You gotta give me that match. And I love the emphasis on Dad as well. And then, you know, Roman comes out, blah, blah, blah. They talk. He says, you know, come to me, don't come to your dad. Then Joe comes out and says, blah, blah, blah. I'll beat you both up, whatever. And then Jordan takes what's his and sneaks up on Roman, suplexes him, gets a match out of it. And the odd thing to me, from what I gathered, was like Jason Jordan is working the pre-match angles and segments, the non-wrestling part, as like a full-on like spoiled heel. And then you see like his match with Roman, he's working underdog babyface the whole time. And that's to me, that's just insane. But Rance, heap some praise upon this angle. I know you want to.
Well, first and foremost, you already know where I stand on the whole babyface heel aspect. I mean, I know they still exist, but I don't think they are adhered to as much as fans may want them to be. So you could easily be a heel by alignment, but work as a babyface in a match. For example, Miz was the babyface against Baron Corbin in their match, but Miz is the number one, probably the biggest, most prominent heel on the brand. So that stuff
Yeah.
doesn't bother me as much because it's match specific. Roman's a bigger guy.
Oh no, I'm
Roman's the
not bothered.
badass.
I'm not.
Jason is the new guy, so
Yeah.
Jason should work from underneath. So I just wanted
Yeah,
to
I'm
point that
not.
out.
I'm not bothered by it. I was just kind of surprised more than
Sure.
anything.
Sure. And I also would argue I don't think he's working as a chicken shit heel yet. I think he's still on that precipice of, is this guy just really, really naive, or is he using his dad? We know, because we're not dumb. We've watched wrestling forever. But yes, so you know how most guys come on places and they say, I'm not gonna say I told you so. See, I'm the opposite of that. Cause I'm gonna throw it in your face. Cause I told all y'all, when this shit happened, give it time. There will be a great payoff. We are starting to see the road to that great payoff. So, of course, it was a bit lackluster, quote unquote, when Jordan came over because it didn't do anything with the gimmick, with him being the son immediately, right? They had to build to that. But if you've paid attention to the subtleties, Kurt having issues with Stephanie, Kurt having Shane come in and under siege him, or whatever you want to call it, and that whole debacle, right? Kurt and Triple H having their little beef for a minute. Through all of this, Kurt has always given Jason fire ass matches to be a part of that he possibly didn't deserve. Gave him Intercontinental title matches against Miz. After he lost all those matches, when Jeff Hardy got hurt, he paired him with one of the greatest tag wrestlers of all time, Matt Hardy. Like, he's been put in proper situations, but it never crossed our mind until he made him the fifth member of Team Raw, right? It never hit us. Kurt really caping for his son. That never crossed our mind because it wasn't anything of any consequence. We all know Jason didn't deserve to be in that 5-on-5 match. Stephanie didn't know he deserved to be in that 5. Stephanie knew that. Hell, Kurt knew he didn't deserve to be in it. Triple H comes out, takes the spot, starts the issue, right? So if you look at it from that moment on, Jason has been on point from a character's perspective because technically Jason Jordan's still hurt, right? To our mind, he still got his knee wrapped. So he continues to use the excuse, my knee, right? Braun ain't shit. I'm going to beat Braun, so somebody has to beat him eventually. 2 minutes into the match, my knee. I'll take on Kane. Somebody got to be Kane. A minute and a half to the match. My knee. It's hilarious. But he keeps getting his dad to put him in problem situations.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And now he got his dad to put him against the top guy in the company. You can see where it's going, and you can kind of see because every time Kurt's like, hell no, you're hurt. Hell no, you don't deserve that. Caleb said it perfectly. But come on, Dad. It's hilarious.
Well, that's
I'm waiting on him to say daddy. That would pop me really hard.
Pop.
Listen, okay. I would imagine that all three of us here have played sports in our lives, okay?
Sure.
And we've gotten involved in recreational sports at a young age, maybe even in junior high and high school. And everyone has probably dealt with, and I'm sure a lot of people that are listening to this show have dealt with, the dad who coaches the team and his kid is on the team.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the kid gets a preferential treatment. This is not new, and it's really popular if you live in a small town, okay? This is a legitimate thing. I've dealt with this all my life. So this is the classic, my dad coaches the team, so I get to be the starting shortstop or the starting pitcher, and I bat cleanup, If you can't tell, I have some suppressed
I'm about to say
feelings.
Didn't the Suns the coach's son kick you out of baseball? Is that why you stopped?
Not necessarily. Well, that's another story for another day. But I mean, the thing is, it's very much that. And it's also a mixture of what Caleb alluded to with the millennial thing. I feel like Vince is like, let's do a millennial angle, pal.
It's perfect.
We'll make that we'll make that millennial look like a piece of shit because I love the president or something.
Let's have him eat avocado toast and play Candy Crush.
Okay, Caleb, that's an outstanding idea, by the way. So I would love to see that, like a backstage segment where he's on his phone playing Candy Crush. That's outstanding. Okay, anyways, offsides of that. First of all, the thing I love is Rance. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. You said that it took him a while to kind of make this. How did you put it? It didn't immediately start to take effect?
No, I think it was just a really slow burn because all of the facets had to align correctly.
Right. Let me just say this, and I get where you're coming from. I have kind of enjoyed this from the start because it felt ridiculous from the beginning. Sure. Jason and Kurt had the interview in the back with Renee Young, and it was so, I can't believe Kurt's my dad in the Olympics. Like, those kind of things. Like, it felt from Jump Street. From Jump Street, if you are, to me, I'm not saying you're not a wrestling fan if you didn't see it, but if you're like kind of one of those hardcores, like the second this started, the second you found out it was Jason Jordan, from the moment they embraced each other in the middle of the ring with a hug, you knew. You know, it kind of felt like, yeah, this is not going to turn out to be a babyface run for Jason Jordan. Because it was so cheesy from Jump Street. Oh. And the cheesiest shit turns out that way.
Yes.
You know? So I've always been intrigued by it. And it's not because of Jason. It's not because of Kurt. It's just because of the angle and how ridiculous they've written it. They could have put anybody. Oh, nice. They could have put just almost anybody. The great thing about it is that Jason plays it so well, and he's not getting a lot of credit because he plays this to be the most pussified, ridiculous, spoiled son, even though his father's never been there. Like it's almost like, Dad, you weren't here my whole life. You owe me. The entitlement thing.
I'm waiting for him to say that. That's the next step. That's the next step. Well, so, come on, Jason. You don't deserve a world title shot. Well, look, Dad. If you'd have been there my whole life, maybe I wouldn't need to ask you for a title. You know it's coming. Sure. That's the next step.
Absolutely. And like you said, the payoff, we don't know what it is yet, but the payoff is building and building and building. And this is one of the more interesting angles that's going on WWE right now that's not necessarily getting the love that I think it should. You know, everybody's focused on other stuff, it kind of seems like, you know, but I feel like this, like, as it's been developing, might be the most interesting. And definitely, we're always going on about long-term storytelling. This feels like one of the angles, the only angle, really.
Well, no,
the long-term game is there, you know?
The Brian Zane Owens angle is long-term, too. But yes, that's why people aren't behind this angle 100% is because you have to pay attention to it longer than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
I'm with you.
It's the truth. You have to pay attention to this longer than 3 weeks because the storyline progression doesn't make a huge, tremendous change in a week, from week to week basis. So, I'm bored by it. But there's been steady progression. One thing I want to point out to y'all, and Caleb, I want to hear what you got to say about this, is, I always look for the subtleties. If y'all pay attention to it, first and foremost, the reason that I thought Jordan was better than Gable was for the situation, not only because if you look at them, like, they kind of look alike. They're built alike and they kind of look alike. But Kurt was always, especially when he first debuted, was kind of that naive kid in a grown man's body type dude that Jordan has always seemed to be as well, right? But if you look at it, remember when Kurt debuted as a heel who thought he was a face, right? A baby face.
Yes, yeah.
That's the same thing Jordan's doing. Jordan doesn't realize he's a bad guy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Oh, shit. Yes, absolutely.
Right? Jordan really thinks, I'm out here killing it. And I don't think like that's why I was early when I was talking to you, Caleb. I don't think he's realized he can use his dad yet. I don't think he's realized that he has that power over his dad yet. I don't think he's realized it, which is why I don't think he's full on chicken shit yet. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like any other like dad who hasn't been there and all of a sudden wants to get involved in their kid's life. You know, gotta make up for time lost. So if Jason is just seeing it as, oh, my dad cares about me, when really he could get away with anything.
Anything.
Basically, get away with murder at this point because
And that's coming
Kurt
up.
is so desperate.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's coming. That's coming. I'm
can't
telling
wait.
you. Yes. When we see Royal Rumble, Jason Jordan versus Brock Lesnar, don't say shit. You heard it here first.
No. When we listen, when we see
God.
Jason Jordan weasel his way into the 30th spot at the Royal Rumble or something like
Oh,
that.
I like that. I like that.
No. When we see Brock Lesnar defending his Universal Championship against the newly minted, legally adopted Jason Angle, that's when we know things
Do you
are
think they're
taking
gonna
off.
pull that? Do you think they're gonna change the name though? Do you think they're gonna change
I need that. I need that in my life, sir.
it?
I could get with it. I'm here for that. If that's
Yeah.
either way, there's got to be something ridiculous that it's just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like he's getting everything handed to him, to where because you know how like it's kind of like it's almost like a connection with how wrestling fans get mad when like they pick a guy and they're like, okay, it's handed to him. Like Roman Reigns is a great example.
Yes.
Someone where it's like they gave him everything, you know, just because he had a look or he was this or he was that. It's almost like that. Like they've found a guy and they're using a story where everything's being handed to him because someone in a position of power says so. Kind of like Vince handing it to Roman because he says so. You know, I see his look. So there's almost like a play on that in a way. I'm not saying that's an intentional thing, but I can see there's a connection there. You know what I mean? It's kind of a fiction, fantasy meets reality kind of deal.
Well,
You know what I mean?
an authority figure has always, from the beginning of time, picked a person to be behind. I mean, just as recently, Triple H did it with Rollins and then Orton before him, you know, or Vince did it with McIntyre, famously. There's always been the authority figure that picks the one guy who's his guy to, you know, you can even go further back when Angle was picking, what was the guy, Luther Reigns, was that his name? With the horseshoe?
Yes.
You know, like, it's
yes.
always been somebody they had, if not their muscle, as their chosen guy to reach the whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I just think the dynamic is so different because it's an illegitimate son angle, and it's done correctly for once, because one, it's not a little person, no offense to Hornswoggle, and two, not only do they actually look alike, but they got the same pedigree. You know what I mean? They got the same build, and they got the same demeanor. Like even if they didn't look alike, their demeanors are exactly the same. Go look at Kurt in '99 and look at Jason Jordan now. The demeanors are exactly the same. It's enough to make you think, did he really sleep with somebody back then? It's enough to make you question it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, there are some similarities there in appearance for sure, but you guys want to move on? You want to talk about the next topic, eh? Huh?
Well, let's do it.
All right, sweet. So, Impact has...
Oh.
Stop booing. It's disrespectful, damn it.
They can't wrestle.
Clap.
Yeah, whatever. Okay,
Pay
pal.
me on time.
Anyway, Ed Nordholm of Anthem has named two executive vice presidents. One is Scott D'Amore, who has already been, with the company basically since Anthem took over, and now he's got the title and the power to match. So that's cool. However, the other one, the more interesting one, is Don Callis, a.k.a. Cyrus. He is color commentary. Cyrus the Virus. He's color commentary for New Japan's America team. And from the way the reports, put it out there, it makes it look like Impact is trying to make a play to form a relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, which honestly I'm all for. But before we dive into that, there are rumors of contracts coming up at the beginning of the year, and 2 top stars potentially leaving. Those 2 top stars being Bobby Lashley and EC3. Guys, do you guys have any thoughts on this?
You need to add Laurel Van Ness because she already asked for a release.
Really?
Not only did she ask for a release, here's the cold part about it.
Dude,
She
they
asked
just
for her
put the
release the
title-
night she asked for a release the night she won the title. That's the
She
messed
asked,
up part.
yeah, well, she asked for it before they gave her it, though. But she asked for it, and then that night they gave her the belt.
So
right?
they're trying to parlay it into. They're trying to make her stay
Yeah.
with a belt. Okay.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Please stay. Yeah, and hopefully Chelsea
That's not
Green
gonna work,
Will
but,
say,
yeah.
will say, you know what? These title belts are just props.
They are, yeah.
They're around.
That's why Benoit left. Yeah, they tried their damnedest to keep him.
It was too late for Benoit. That was like 18 years though, bro, or however long it was. It was way too long.
It
Um,
was quite a while. Yeah.
So let's take this one step at a time, if I may.
Yeah.
The one match that I want to see, that I really want to see Brock in, is against Bobby Lashley, right? Not saying that I won't watch any Brock matches, but that's the one, because that's like literally if you took Brock Lesnar, dipped him in chocolate, that's Bobby Lashley. It's the truth. It's the truth. They're the same person. You right? They're the same dude, just one has melanin, one doesn't.
Yep.
So I'm interested in that. And even Bobby Lashley has said himself, that's the one match he wants. In fact, if I can put my fantasy booking hat on here for a minute, the way I'd book it, I'd book the first match as an actual MMA fight.
Oh, hey, can they bring back the Lion's Den?
Why not? Right?
Yes.
Why not?
Wow.
I'm serious. I will book the first match as a real legitimate fight. You know? But that's fantasy booking. Secondly, Laura Van Ness needs to come back to WWE because I'm pretty sure she's earned the right to be appreciated like now, unlike she was before.
Yes. Yes.
And
I don't know. I mean, but she slept with Daniel Bryan. She slept with a married man. How could you keep her around?
Daniel Bryan might not be hired much longer if you watch SmackDown, so doesn't really matter. That Laura Van Ness gimmick is the most. Speaking of the Matt Hardy gimmick, that is the most ridiculous gimmick ever. But
Sure.
she's into it so much. But
Yeah.
not only is she great at the gimmick, but she's really good in ring. She'd be a good addition to the roster. Ethan Carter III. Me and Caleb had some fun with this earlier. So are we gonna call him? What did I call him earlier? Alexander Helmsley III.
Yes, you
no,
did.
I like this one better. I like this one so much better.
I got it. VM3.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
As well, you should.
I love it. And then you can even go back.
'Cause-
You can even go back and say, remember when we had illegitimate son angle, but we said it was Hornswoggle? We messed up. It was really him. That's why you fired him.
That's why he got fired, because Vince found out he was his illegitimate son.
love it. I love
Here's
it
the-
so much.
Here's kind of the cool thing about all this, right? You're talking about Bobby Lashley. You're talking about EC3. You're talking about, Chelsea Green, Laurel Van Ness, whatever you want to call her. They've all had parts within WWE before,
Sure.
right?
Which is funny, but yeah.
Right, exactly. So, and that's the great thing. Like, these guys are not everyone is able to do this. When they leave the WWE, they go out and they get a following. Maybe it didn't work out in WWE. Bobby Lashley would be the best example of someone who could have, right? Maybe,
Bobby
didn't work
Lashley.
out for whatever reason.
Bobby Lashley quit because he got tired of Michael Hayes calling him a nigger. That's it.
That's fair. That's fair. I can understand that. So, but you think about those things, like they went out and said, you know what? I got this. I don't need WWE, right? Not necessarily. Some of them maybe got it released on their own or whatever. But the idea is, if these guys leave Impact, that sucks for Impact, first of all, because those are some of the bigger names. But at the same time, I would argue that, well, maybe if they didn't sit around and give Alberto El Patron, who doesn't deserve a goddamn thing,
more
these
Patron hate.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. Maybe these guys wouldn't even consider being out the door necessarily. Especially now. Lashley has had some time as a top guy in Impact, but EC3,
he's
kind of been
their top.
Yeah,
Lashley's been their top guy for like 3 years, dude.
right.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
So like EC3 though,
He's the face of the company.
like think about EC3 though, right? He's kind of been overlooked a little bit. You know,
Well,
as someone
here
who could be the top guy.
Here lately, yeah.
EC3 was undefeated for 2 years, and then he was a 3-time world champ. He's not. He's
No,
not overlooked.
yeah. That's why I said here lately, not like that's an everyday thing.
No. I mean, I get that, but what I'm saying is like you're a mainstay, and yet you still got to take a back seat to old dipshit who can't keep his nose out of the powder. You know what I'm
With
saying?
the worst Mexican restaurant in the state of Texas.
Yeah, and that to me is a problem. So I could see why someone like EC3 is out. Bobby Lashley may just be ready to move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
Chelsea Green, Laurel Van Ness, she has built herself up to a point where she's valuable, as Caleb likes to say, know your worth, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's built herself up to a point where she should be getting a look from WWE, in my opinion.
And
The
thing is, WWE never did her wrong. They just didn't sign her.
No, they didn't.
They didn't sign her in the time she wanted to be signed. They never. They never
went
did her
out
wrong.
and she did it. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
of course not. I'm not saying they did. She went out. They said, okay, maybe not right now, right? And then she went out and she
Give
did
her
her
time.
own thing.
Sure.
Yeah, and she's ready, in my opinion. She
Hell
can
yeah.
come in and be more interesting than quite a few of the women already on that roster.
90% of them.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because she's got a tailor-made, ready-to-go gimmick, and even if she didn't come in and be Laurel Van Ness instantly,
She would.
she's good in ring. You know, she could, yeah, but she's good as Chelsea Green too.
Yeah.
You know, so there's, and not to mention she's got the Zack Ryder connection, right? That helps.
Which is why
So-
that's the real reason why I think she's coming over. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's kind of how I felt about Candice LeRae, but she hasn't quite made that move either yet. But those connections are there.
But she works for the company still. She's just not signed. And Candice
Right.
LeRae is the Joey Ryan of the independent circuit. Like she's everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. But those times are coming, and I can see why those three especially are like, hey, maybe it's time to go. And who knows? It's hard to say with the way Impact is and how. What's the best word? They're so like not inconsistent, but it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like you don't know what's going to happen every day when you come into work. It's like a failing business, but then sometimes it's not a failing. But you know what I mean? Like they don't know what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis, and the stability is not there. So it's kind of like, well, I'm valuable. Why should I stay in this unstable place? Why shouldn't I go somewhere else?
You know what's
You know
funny?
what I mean?
I don't know if I can name anybody on that roster besides. So you got the three people. So just from a male standpoint, we named Lash and EC3, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Patron and Eli Drake. Oh yeah,
Morrison,
Chris Adonis,
John
is there.
Moore, Johnny Impact.
Johnny Impact, the dumbest name in history. Eddie Edwards is still there. Who am I missing? Is that it? Is that the whole roster?
Moose.
Moose is still there.
Moose.
There is not a human being on this earth. There is not a human being that is a wrestler that is on God's green earth right now that needs the Performance Center more than Moose. Moose needs a year in the Performance Center because he has everything a person needs. He just needs fine-tuning. I'm telling you, a year in the Performance Center, he'll be a world champ. Not only world champ, but he'll be a top guy.
And Moose is over.
That's up to if WWE were to sign him.
They won't.
And
with
the domestic abuse thing, it's not likely. Yeah.
And then the thing is, like his story isn't just one of those I hit my wife, boom. Like he beat the dog shit out of her.
Damn.
It's okay. Let me put his perspective for you. And I love Moose. I'm not trying to diss dude at all. No diss to him. Everybody's different. But his domestic violence situation was so bad he got kicked out of the NFL.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. That football said, "Fuck it, you can't play here no more." So,
Yeah. I mean, I can't see WWE taking on that necessarily.
not in this climate. No, not in this climate. But so if we want to move on from that to the executives,
Yeah.
I'm really tired of hearing TNA hire new executives because it's Dutch, it's Bruce, it's didn't Cornette come for like 5 weeks until he couldn't go out of the country, and then now
Cornette was there, yeah.
Jeff Jarrett
Yeah.
was in and out for a cup of coffee, or
Pritchard.
or a cup of alcohol, since he's
Oh, wow.
and now it's D'Amore, who actually should have been there the entire time.
Well, D'Amore's been there the whole time,
Team
yeah.
Canada, yeah. D'Amore should be their Paul Heyman. He should have never left. Right?
Well, this is the point where you guys start saying things, and I'm like, oh, I don't know who the fuck y'all are talking about.
Who's this?
I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy a tasty beverage. Y'all go ahead.
Yes. Well, we mentioned Don Callis as well.
So I think it's interesting, personally. Ring of Honor, we already talked about this. TNA and Ring of Honor should have merged 5 years ago. But Ring of Honor, now with Sinclair and having all the access to the different TV stations and whatnot, and the markets, and they have a working relationship with New Japan, I think it'd be interesting if Don Callis alone is the catalyst to getting some New Japan help, because New Japan already has a bad taste in their mouth with how they treated Okada. Remember when they let Okada come over on his excursion?
Yeah.
And then they made him Kato?
He was the green. Yeah.
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 So I don't know, but that would be an interesting. Honestly, what I think is going to happen is that New Japan's going to tell him, "Hey, you can go. We appreciate your work, but you can go ahead and go. We still got Barnett." Right?
Yeah.
Or
Maybe so, yeah.
because who?
Caleb.
Yes.
Stop
Yes.
letting Rance say things and leave these awkward silences. I'm not gonna say things. We're talking about Impact executives. God damn it! Come on, guys.
This is your warehouse.
better.
Yes.
Yeah, the floor is yours. I promise. Go ahead.
Okay, Tozawa.
Rance, go ahead, pal.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Who is the New Japan American team?
The American team, the one they have is Don Callis and Kevin Kelly.
Okay, so but Barnett does for Access, right?
Barnett and JR do Access, yeah.
So just give Barnett the job. Right? And because
Okay.
Callis got to be gone, right?
If possible, yeah.
So let me ask you this, because I really want to get you talking.
Yes.
What if anything can Don Callis and Scott D'Amore do for Impact to help them, especially in light expecting that Lashley and Green and EC3 leave? What can those two guys do to help?
Hopefully, one coach, Scott D'Amore, if you remember Team Canada,
Yes.
and Don Callis can do is they can manage to kind of rein in Ed Nordholm and kind of take over, like, hey, this is, these are the engagements we're going to take, this sort of thing. So basically, like, that's best case scenario.
And
That's
they're EVPs, right?
they're EVPs, and they do report to him, but, it could maybe turn it into, like, and Carl could appreciate this, like a Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones thing, where Jimmy Johnson does most of the work, but, Jerry Jones has, his name attached to it or whatever.
The deep pockets. The deep pockets. Jerry has the pockets.
Yes.
The money.
Yeah, he's the money man. And then Don Callis and D'Amore could be the brains of the operation, if you will.
But is Don Callis really a good? I mean, he's an amazing
See, I
manager.
don't know.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
nothing about
I
him
don't
ever
know,
made me
but-
think executive.
But nothing about Ed Nordum, nothing that I've seen or read about how Ed Nordum has ran this company tells me that he's a good guy to,
Yeah,
run these things.
but it's a difference between being a owner or a boss in a regular business and being the guy over a wrestling company. That is such a unique business to run, and Dixie will tell you that, right?
Yeah.
But of all the people sitting out here, like Scott D'Amore is D'Amore, how you say his name? It's perfect.
D'Amore.
D'Amore. He's perfect for that. This is what he's done for 20 years. But
Yep.
it's just weird to me that they pick. Hell, if you're gonna get somebody from the Killing the Town podcast, go get Len Storm,
Lance Storm.
right? If you're gonna get one of the two guys, get him. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so. And they've got Conan on the payroll as the thing.
Conan's
So
been
I don't get
fired
why
from
they
every-
don't.
Conan's been fired from every company he's ever worked for. You really want that dude to be in control of something?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Oh,
Let's move on, man, so Carl can talk again.
Yeah. Let's move on. Quick,
Wait,
let's
wait,
do-
wait, 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 wait.
What?
Wait, boys, wait, boys.
What?
First of all, there was some Conan slander just
Oh
now.
boy.
And
I love Conan,
And,
but it's the truth.
yeah, no, there was some Conan slander, and I'm not going to have it. The Latino community means a lot to me.
Latino community.
Yeah, let me tell you. There's guys like Conan. There's guys like Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio Jr. Those kind of guys. Let me ask you a question, Caleb. If TNA tomorrow was like, you know what, Conan, you're out of here. What do you think Conan might say to that?
Well, he wouldn't say that to that. I mean, the statement you want me to say is one of excitement. So if they said like, "Hey Conan, do you want to, you want to run the ship, brother?" He would say, "Viva la raza!"
Oh,
There it is.
I'm telling
That's
you.
that's the December throat sickness edition of my Eddie Guerrero tribute.
Fair enough. What can you do when it's that kind of time of year and the weather is like 70 degrees one day,
So fucking
40
up and
degrees.
down. Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
Welcome to the
We're
South.
gonna talk- where are those anti-global warming motherfuckers at so we can have a conversation about why it's December and it's 70 one day and it's 40 the next?
By the way,
Damn it.
the tweet that Carl tweeted out, this is completely irrelevant to everything, but I want this on the podcast. Carl tweeted
Carl's
out a
tweets
tweet.
are always relevant.
He tweeted out a tweet today that they had the very first Flat Earth conference, and people flew all over the globe to get to the Flat Earth conference.
Just saying.
It's a nice spin on a good joke, pal.
Oh man,
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right, what's next?
But we all know the Earth is really flat. But let's just move on.
I don't want to run to the ice wall and get shot by the one world nation. I don't want it to happen.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen, man. You gotta avoid that ice wall at all cost. There's a couple matches on Clash of Champions I want to quickly go over. One you've got, and really this is the first one that comes to mind. I can't really think of anything else. It's like, oh my god, but you've got Shinsuke Nakamura and Randy Orton against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. But wait, there's more. As one Billy Mays, as one Billy Mays would say, Shane McMahon is the special ref, and if Team Kevin and Sami lose, they are fired, not just from SmackDown, but from WWE. So this angle is taking on a whole nother step, and I'm here for it. I'm always here for it.
Yeah. I definitely will go to Rance here last to see what he has to say, because I know it'll be interesting, as always.
Yes.
So here's the thing. We know that, as wrestling fans, we know Kevin and Sami aren't going anywhere. However, in the world of wrestling, they might go somewhere. So I feel like there's a small chance they might get fired, as it were. But I also have a feeling, and it's just a feeling, that we might see Daniel Bryan. And what I think we're going to see is a Shane McMahon ref bump, right? Where he's knocked out of this match.
Yes.
And Daniel Bryan slides ever so gracefully into the ring to make sure that Kevin and Sami win this match somehow, but still makes it to where it seems like he's just doing what he should do because his partner, Shane McMahon, his co-worker, was incapacitated. If they want to do this in a building it up step-by-step kind of way, this kind of feels where it might go. I could be completely wrong. I'm not trying to make predictions, but it's a prediction. So,
Is it me?
hello.
Is
Yeah,
it me?
go ahead.
Yeah, it's you. It's you, pal.
So if y'all watched SmackDown this week, the look that Daniel Bryan gave Shane McMahon when Shane said that if they lost they'd be fired, he was the guest referee. It's like someone just told Daniel Bryan, "Your mama's so fat," such and such. Like Daniel Bryan was about to slap fire out this motherfucker. Like the look he gave, he was like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, Daniel Bryan is on some other shit right now, cause he is so sick of Shane shit. And
No doubt.
I'm a
Who
Shane
wouldn't be?
fan. I'm a Shane fan, but I have to give Caleb all the credit in the world. Shane right now is acting like a trust fund having ass bitch right now. He really is.
Trust fund having ass, bitch.
He really is. Like, bro, let it go, dog. It's over.
You guys are killing me right now. I'm not
It's
kidding.
over, man. Like, you
Trust
know,
fund, have an ass, face ass, whatever ass, bitch.
I'm telling you, man. The next War Games is gonna be Shane versus Kevin and Sami for like 2.5 hours, and Shane's gonna jump off the top of the arena or something. It's like, bro, just let it go, man. Like, just let it go. If you really
You can't.
like, if you really got that much beef with him, bro, then you clearly make yourself a wrestler whenever you want. Fight him,
Do you know? Whoa. Do you know why he has a problem letting it go?
because he's a
Said why?
McMahon. He's a McMahon.
No. Because he has 3 boys, and none of them have sat down and watched Frozen. That's the problem. They don't
Fuck
understand
off, Carl.
to let it go. That's the problem.
Boo.
That's a Caleb level joke, bro. That's a Caleb
Fuck y'all.
level joke.
Fuck y'all. That
Don't
joke is.
insult me like that, pal.
Whoa! That joke is going to be over when people start downloading this podcast. I'm telling you
Over.
right
No, by the way, y'all watch SmackDown, right?
Yes.
now. Sure.
Sure.
That
That's
means
the no.
no.
Yo,
Y'all don't know what that means.
like we all knew Shinsuke was gonna be Orton's partner.
Yeah.
But when I heard the music, you know you expect to be excited. I was like, oh shit, it's Shinsuke.
Oh, it's that guy again.
I love him, but I'm so tired of him right now. I really am.
You're gonna be really tired of him when he wins the Royal Rumble, pal.
No, actually, I'm excited for that because I know what that's gonna lead to, and something I want to see. I think
Yeah.
the problem I have with him is Shinsuke doesn't lend himself to be the type of character that can move around. Randy Orton is the greatest character in the history of the WWE in aimless situations. Right? Randy can just drift and drift and drift and drift and drift. No Elias Sampson, and he's perfect at it. Right? One week he's doing this.
Yeah.
One week he's the greatest hit in the history of doing that. Shinsuke is the exact opposite. Shinsuke is almost underutilized if he's not doing something of importance or of value. Because one, you can look at his face and tell he don't really give two shits about it if it don't matter. You could look at him and tell. And two, the type of character he is just doesn't lend itself to work in that capacity. So the shit he's doing now is just to get over, just to get through. But when Royal Rumble come and he wins and he leads up to that AJ match, we know that that's something of importance, and it'll be A plus Shinsuke.
So
I'm sorry.
You know what?
I'm sorry, Rance. I didn't mean to get y'all derailed.
It's cool.
Here's
cool.
here's the thing about the Royal Rumble. You know, the best way to make sure that Shinsuke is completely 100% over is if he throws out Jinder Mahal for the final elimination, right?
Or should Jinder Mahal throw Shinsuke out?
Well, I would pop. I ain't gonna lie.
Boo!
Okay, let me ask you a question, Caleb. If Jinder Mahal threw Roman Reigns out of the Royal Rumble, would y'all be a Jinder Mahal fan?
No.
What if? No. Hold on. False. Because if it was Jinder and Roman, and your choices were down to that, you would want Jinder to win because you hate two-time Royal Rumble champion.
But Caleb. But hold on, let me stick up.
Jinder is the exception.
Hold on, let me stick up for my client Caleb Baldwin.
No,
Caleb actually does not dislike Roman Reigns. He's just indifferent about Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
I know
I am
that.
Roman neutral.
Yes.
Yeah, he's Roman neutral.
My biggest problem with those other repeat winners, now that we're talking about it, is that, their wins were so fucking far spread apart.
Right.
Cena's was 5 years apart.
Listen, let's wait till we get to.
Ah!
I know. I promise you, there's going to be some part timers who haven't won in a while in that Royal Rumble.
Kurt Angle's gonna win the Royal Rumble this year.
So let's just we'll hold that. Caleb, I want you to keep all that pent up aggression and save it for January. I promise we're going to get there.
Hell yeah.
Is it Philly too? Tommy Dreamer's coming back to win the Rumble.
Oh my God, the ghost of Chris Benoit is gonna win the Royal Rumble.
And the company will officially cease to exist.
Hey, I'm just saying. Jesus Christ, it went off the rails.
We really did.
Yeah, we did.
We really did.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but look, I'm as big a proponent as anybody about all the pay-per-views that they have. I don't give two shits about Clash. I really don't.
No, I don't either.
I really don't. Look, give me the Usos match.
It feels very run-of-the-mill, right?
Give me the Usos match and I'm good. I'm done. I don't really care about anything else. That's all I want to see.
Well, because it feels like we're in December, right? So we all know WWE kind of takes December off.
They take their Randy Orton approach to that one, yeah.
Yeah. So but we know as soon as Clash is over, is there a Raw pay-per-view?
No.
Nope.
The Rumble.
Okay. So we know that once Clash is over, we're officially, in my opinion, on the road to WrestleMania.
Oh.
Right? So we'll start building towards the Rumble.
By the way, this is a criticism of one Triple H, Paul Levesque, since he's the main guy scheduling pay-per-views. The problem I have with Clash of the Champions is that SmackDown doesn't have any heat right now in terms of new feuds. It's all the same feuds, right?
Yep.
If this had been a Raw pay-per-view, I'd be excited because you got, prospectively, Roman and Joe. Throw Jordan in some kind of way. You got Paige and Asuka, or Paige and Sasha, or whatever, something of that, right?
Right. You
got whatever the cruiserweight titles match is going to be after Gulak and Rich Swann have their match. You got
be Gulak.
Well, it's probably going to be Gulak because if you watch after Raw, when Gulak Enzo's gone and Gulak grabbed the mic, like I can tell they're doing something with that. You have the Bar versus Shield 6.67, the final blow off match, right? Like you actually have a card where people care. If it was a Raw pay-per-view.
Right.
Well, that's why they got the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're damn right, dude. There's not a lot of heat behind the feuds. I mean, you've got the Zayn and Owens and fucking Shane and all the other guys attached to it. That has heat, but
this is how little the heat is.
Really?
This is how little the heat is. Dolph Ziggler just walked into the damn the U.S. title match. He ain't wrestled on TV in like 3 weeks. The New Day,
Rusev and Aiden just got put in the fucking tag match too.
And then the New Day's in it, and they just lost the final encounter 2 months ago.
Yeah.
There's
yeah,
no heat.
it's
They just said
I'll be
Something.
honest with
load
you
the matches
guys.
up.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know when Clash of the Champions is.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks.
Okay. Like, you could have said it was tomorrow, and I've been like, really? Like, I have no clue. I don't, because the SmackDown right now, and you know what? Who I blame for this? I really do. I think this is all because of AJ Styles. It's all his fault. Because let me tell you what.
I agree.
Let me tell you what. When Jinder Mahal was champion, damn it, all we did was talk about WWE champion Jinder Mahal. And Caleb, I'm completely trolling you right now. I just want you to know.
Yeah, I kind of figured that, pal.
But like, let's think about it seriously. See, and I'm not trying to be funny because I'm happy AJ's champ. But AJ winning that championship before that match with Brock, while they gave us a good AJ Brock match, threw the entire dynamic of the show off. Right?
Yeah, maybe so, dude.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
The build when you have a
Seriously.
pay-per-view, when you have a build to a pay-per-view, when you have a build
Right.
to a world championship match, right? And then the champion loses right before his big pay-per-view match, it throws the entire dynamic of the card off. And the Jinder AJ match was one of the two main pillars of the show. Jinder AJ and Zayn Owens Shane are the two pillars of SmackDown right now, right?
Right.
So now the dynamic between AJ and Jinder is nobody cares about that feud at all because AJ got the belt now.
Well, yeah, and they're in the blow-off, too, so, I mean,
Yeah, nobody. The only reason people cared about that feud to begin with is because everybody knew AJ was going to beat Jinder. Everybody knew that. So it was,
Right.
how is he going to beat him? When is he going to beat him? What's going to happen?
It
How's he
feels
going to
like,
do it?
yeah.
But he already
It
won.
feels like they should have saved the victory for Clash so that more people would give a shit about Clash as opposed to
Absolutely.
giving a shit about the SmackDown in England.
well,
No disrespect to England.
And
but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I understand that Jinder couldn't get the match that AJ give Brock the match that AJ gave him. Like, I understand.
Yeah,
that.
that feels
Yeah.
like the reason. Yeah.
there are some outside factors
Sure,
involved. Yeah.
There are, but here's the thing, Caleb, real quick, and I'm sorry to jump on your toes,
No.
step on your toes. Right?
That's fine.
Here's the thing, like, okay, so the idea was, okay, well, we want the biggest card possible for Survivor Series, right?
Yep.
So let's give AJ the title so that he's wrestling Brock instead of Jinder. I get that. The problem is Survivor Series, I hate to say this, it's going to sell itself because it's Survivor Series.
A lot of the
People are going
time,
to watch
sure.
that because it's a big four. So if you keep the title on Jinder and say, okay, we'll have that match where they placed AJ and Brock in the same spot, it's not going to change much, in my opinion. But if you say, okay, well, now move on to Clash, which is a pay-per-view which is going to be a harder sell because, well, it's Clash. It's not Survivor Series. It's not the Rumble. It's not whatever. This is the moment where we feel like, oh, AJ faces Jinder, but Jinder's champ. AJ might win the belt. Then maybe you get more eyes on Jinder as opposed to, well, now nobody gives a fuck. We were all going to watch Survivor Series regardless, but now we may not all watch Clash. I know I might not pay much attention to it, honestly. So that's kind of where I see your point, Rance, and I don't know how Caleb feels about that, but I kind of feel like I know we all wanted, not me, but a lot of us wanted the belt off Jinder immediately. It was such a stain or whatever, but the way it went down kind of feels not quite as exciting now. We're not even really talking about it that much at this point, that AJ's champ, and it's so amazing, you know what I mean?
So to add to that, when you build a card, you normally build a card from the top down, right? So the card was, once AJ won that belt right before Survivor Series, after Jinder and Brock had been advertised for 3 weeks, you threw the entire top of the card off kilter. I'm talking about the SmackDown card, not Survivor Series, but Clash. Threw it completely off kilter. So now the entire Clash card is completely off kilter because what's supposed to be the draw, the top match, isn't interesting anymore because you gave away the result when he beat him.
I want to say I really think that that tag match with Owens and Zayn is probably going to close the show.
I don't think so. Well, no, actually, no, wait, no. With the stipulation, you might be right. With the
I'll be
stipulation,
honest.
you might be right.
I don't think so. I still don't think so. I'm not saying it won't. Obviously, it could go either way. But I still think it depends on what their thoughts are. Okay, you just gave the title belt back to AJ Styles, right? Are you? And he didn't main event Survivor Series. Let's keep that in mind. That was the
5-on-5.
Yeah, the 5-on-5. So, are you really going to say, okay, AJ just won the title back? He's not main eventing Survivor Series, and he's not going to main event Clash of Champions. He's our top champion. The show is called Clash of Champions, and we're not going to make AJ finish the show. Like, if that doesn't happen, I worry about the belief in AJ as champ.
No,
I really do, because of the name of the show, you know?
No, because the only reason that the tag match would end is if Daniel Bryan interferes and does something. And the fans will lose their shit to see Daniel Bryan do something. Even if it's as simple as counting the pin or something. Anything Bryan does, the fans are going to be down for that shit. So
right.
I understand
in
what
that
you're
case, then you got to work towards, in my opinion, if that's something that Daniel Bryan is going to do, and we think, oh, is there even the inkling of doubt that Daniel Bryan may return to wrestling action, then they better be working towards a Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, some kind of program at some point.
This doesn't have to lead to Bryan wrestling, though. This is just Bryan. Honestly, any human being in Bryan's shoes would stick up for Zayn and Owens. They paid their dues. They did. They paid their dues. They were wrong. They got reprimanded. They got in trouble and beat up. It's over now. You got over on them.
Well, and I agree. And just to be clear, I'm not the proponent. I'm not that guy who's like, the WWE title better close the show. I'm not that kind of guy.
And I get where you're coming from.
God damn it, the belt better go on last, and the champion better in a second.
And I'm perfectly fine if Zayn and Owens close the show, because in my opinion, it's the only interesting thing going on SmackDown other than the
top
women
angle,
with the Riot Squad. That's it. So I'm fine with that. I concern myself a little bit with the belief in AJ Styles and how those rumblings start to come when it's like, oh, well, AJ's the champ, but he's not closing pay-per-views, because you know how that narrative can push itself. While I don't see it as a problem, others will. You know?
But again, I think as much as I shit on fans, I think that fans are a lot smarter than I think I give them credit for, and the company gives them credit for. Because the reason they had a problem, the only other issue we've had is, just call a spade a spade. The only other issue we've had a problem with the champ not main eventing shows is CM Punk. It's the only other guy.
Yep.
No, you can't think of anybody else that has ever been relevant for. The reason that was such a big deal was because they weren't. It'd be different if John Cena versus Kane was the hottest angle in the company. Right?
Yeah.
It was so hot that everybody couldn't wait for it. Nobody gave a fuck about John Cena versus Kane. John Cena versus John Laurinaitis. Nobody cared.
Yes.
And they were putting Punk and Bryan before him. So that's why that was the issue. This situation is different because it's not them putting AJ before because somebody else is more important to us. There's a hotter angle that needs to close the show. Because if we do this angle in the middle of the show, it's going to take all the heat out of the building. That's so
Yep.
In that situation, that's why I understand it, and I don't think it'd be a big issue if AJ did it. And plus, the world knows AJ is the best wrestler in the world, not named Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, or Roman Reigns. If y'all can see me, I'm smiling right now. But yeah, so yeah.
Well, we've waxed on quite a bit. You guys, you got anything else to say, Carl?
Yeah, I'm ready to wax off. So let's do it.
Well, we got to answer some questions first, man. I don't put these fucking surveys out there so we don't answer the questions. Okay.
God damn it, Caleb.
Look, I care for the listeners, man. That's how I am. That's how I'm wired.
All 7
First
of them.
question. Yes, all 69 of them.
Nice.
Yes. First question from @BirchSidon. I hope I pronounced that right. He asked, do you expect a swerve or a clean, straight, sexy finish between Jericho and Omega at Wrestle Kingdom? I'm going to answer first.
Go ahead.
I think it's going to be straight up clean. Kenny Omega goes over.
I'm not the most knowledgeable New Japan fan, even though I surprised a lot of people with how much I actually know about it. I don't think I've ever seen a non-clean finish to a match in New Japan. I don't
Much
think
less at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, like every match ends in a clean 1, 2, 3, because they got to do the big thing where the young boys come in and spray the ice spray on them and make it look like it's real, right? No, yeah, there's no way. Yeah, Omega wins. Omega wins
Yep.
clean as hell, and I don't even see it
Okay.
being very long. 20 minutes max. I don't see it being long.
No.
Just
Yeah.
real quick, shout out to Sean. He's a friend of mine. Sean, I just wanted to let you know that this match will be clean as hell. There's no way Jericho is going to win this. If he does,
Chris
New Japan
Jericho.
is just
Your
okay.
second IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
Jericho
not
wins,
gonna-
Gato has lost his mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Jericho knows his place. He's there to make sure that, guys like Kenny Omega and people like that are going over and getting the biggest pop they can, whatever the case may be. Omega wins clean as a whistle.
And then Jericho gets his win back on the Cruise of Jericho.
Is it after?
Could
Is that
be.
after?
Could be.
So
My-
that's perfect. That's perfect, because that means that the blow off is at WrestleMania.
Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's funny.
By the way,
second
real
question.
quick.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I just want to throw out a shout out to Jeremy and Young Boy with Josh, the newest podcast on the network, Keeping It Strong Style.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about New Japan, we talk about it from time to time if it's a relevant topic, but that's all they talk about. Download, listen. It's a great show, and they are very knowledgeable about that shit. I just wanted to give them some love since we're talking about it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, Ricky and Clive asked us Matt and Bray segment on Raw last night, yay or nay, which we kind of already answered. Absolute yay.
Yeah.
100% yay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is all, and you know what?
Delightful.
It was the laugh off. Okay.
Yes.
This. I'm not kidding, guys. And I know we didn't really go crazy about the Bray side of this. I'm hoping beyond hope, because Bray has been such a lost character for a while, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that these segments, this promo, fuck the match. I'm hoping that these things really kind of help Bray. I'm hoping for that.
You need something.
Yes, check mark. Give me Matt and Bray. I'm down. The segment was awesome. I laughed my ass off. And the best part about the segment was I had been out watching part of the Monday Night Football game prior. And as soon as I walked in the door, I turned the TV on, and that fucking segment had just started. And I was like, oh my God, the timing is perfect. You know what I mean? Because I knew it was coming, that Woken Matt will be back. So
Yep.
Absolutely, man. I turned it on and I was like, oh my God, they made us wait till 9:30, 9:45?
9:45. Yes.
Yeah. So yes, I'm all in. Give
The-
me this. That's a great segment. It was a whole lot of fun. And I love that kind of shit. So
The segment was delightful.
Yes.
it was wonderful.
Yeah. Speaking of perfect timing, you said you came in and that segment was on. I had the opposite happen on Sunday morning. I was getting ready for work, and I just happened to turn on TV around 11:35, and I saw number 4, Alabama, and I was like, God damn it.
Those sons
You're
of
still
bitches,
upset.
right? Bro,
Oh.
listen. Before we even answer the next question, we could throw some sports in, right?
Yeah,
You know
hell
what?
yeah.
Listen, fuck the playoff, okay? Seriously, first of all, it should have been 8 teams from jump, okay? My opinion. It should have been 8 teams from jump, because I wouldn't bitch about number 9. I'll
Yeah.
bitch about number 5, but I won't bitch about number 9.
The only way I'll bitch about number 9 is if it's Oklahoma State. That's it.
Right. I'll tell you who should have been instead of Alabama. And yeah,
UCF?
they would have got rolled. UCF.
Yeah.
Give me UCF, a team that loves that coach who's going to Nebraska, but they still said, hey, you can coach the Peach Bowl, right, against Auburn, which I cannot wait to see that game, by the way.
Here's the one caveat. The only reason why I'm okay with Alabama, the one reason. The BCS was numbers. We didn't want numbers no more. We wanted the eye test, right?
Sure, yeah.
The point of the committee is not to pick the 4 most qualified. It's not to pick the
Right.
4 teams based on record or conference championships. It's to pick the 4 best teams in
Absolutely.
college football. Ohio
by the
State
way,
and
Rance,
UCF
Rance.
is not better than Alabama. It's just they're not.
Listen,
Rance.
and here's the thing,
Rance.
they still got it wrong.
Damn it. Because Auburn didn't get in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm serious.
I'll
To me,
hear that argument. That argument I'll listen to.
We're all
Absolutely.
from the South. We're all from the South, kind of. So, right. So I would say Auburn, Georgia, and Bama are probably all 3 of the top 4 teams in the country, along with Clemson. I don't think Oklahoma's that good. I don't. I think they're going to get beat when they go play Georgia.
They are, but they got the Heisman winner.
Yeah, I know.
Being
Trust
in
me.
Big 12 country, I certainly hope, because I have the utmost, and I'm going to say it, be honest, a complete bias against the SEC. Basically, ever since Alabama got in over Oklahoma State like 6 years ago. But that being said, I hope beyond hope we get Clemson and Oklahoma in the national championship.
Well, it's not going to be a very entertaining game because I think Clemson's going to beat their ass if that happens.
That's fine. That's fine.
Just an opinion. But hey, we're not talking wrestling anymore. We got off track.
Damn it. Okay. Next question from @RobRopey. What up, Rob? Thanks for sending in questions, sir.
Hashtag first fan.
Day
Rob
one.
is
Yep.
trash.
Oh, come on. We love you, Rob. Even Carl does. He just won't say it. But he asked, who is on your women's wrestling Mount Rushmore? And first, I want to say, I'm not going to throw on someone on there that I've never seen wrestle.
Sure.
So, like, you're not going to, like, hear me putting on a fucking Fabulous Moolah is on my women's Mount Rushmore. No disrespect. I've never seen her wrestle. And when I did, it was her as, like, a really old woman, so it wasn't her best shit. So this might be a lot more modern than some people would like, but I would say, without a doubt, Trish, Lita, Victoria, and honestly, probably Sasha.
Victoria.
Maybe Gail. Maybe Gail.
Wait,
'cause,
Victoria.
Yes, Victoria.
And Sasha over Charlotte. That's complete bias, by the way.
Okay,
Y'all are going to
fine.
hate my list. So, Rance, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I have the most traditional list out of there because I do have 2 people that I haven't watched a lot of, but are, there would be no women's wrestling without them. So Manami Toyota is probably the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Just we never watched her.
Yeah.
So there's no women's wrestling. There's no Joshi wrestling without her, right? So
Okay.
Toyota, Moolah, of course, Trish, and my number 4 is China.
Who?
China. Now,
Okay, China.
I'm not putting China in there because of her escapades against women in the ring,
Right.
but because she's the first and possibly only woman. Well, she's the only woman so far, but possibly the only one ever, based on where we're going in WWE, to not only wrestle men but be considered as men's equals in the ring,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
Um,
Like
but
she almost main evented SummerSlam.
she almost won the World Rumble, right? They wanted her to win the Rumble.
Yeah.
She almost won the World Championship. She won the Intercontinental Championship and had feuds with numerous people. Like,
Yep.
that's not going to happen again. But I want to give my honorable mentions to Lita, of course. She deserves honorable mention. But my main honorable mention I want to give to is Sarah Del Rey. Because Sarah Del Rey might be the most talented woman we've ever seen ever wrestle from a talent perspective. But I think we want to give all the credit in the world to Paige and to Hunter and to Emma and to Sasha and Charlotte and all these women for the women's revolution. That women's revolution started because of Sarah Del Rey. Because she's so good at her job. and Fit Finley too, because the old women wouldn't wrestle anywhere close without Fit. But Sarah Del Rey is so good at her job and such a great trainer and great wrestler to begin with, that Triple H felt he had the confidence to give Sarah and the women the platform that they got to blow up. That don't happen without Sarah Del Rey. So she deserves a honorable mention spot.
Okay.
Carl.
So just to repeat, this is a wrestling question, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
The women's wrestlers. Okay. All right, because that changes it up a little bit.
Yeah, that means you can't say Sunny or Sable.
Right, exactly. Well, no, I could say Sable because Sable has wrestled. And I'm going to say Sable, actually, because I know. And listen, this isn't because I think Sable is fucking Chris Benoit in the wrestling ring. It's because of what Sable meant. And she's with another person on this Mount Rushmore. It's what she meant to the WWE at the time. Sable is not only a person who wrestled like half a time, but she's a complete sex symbol. And the reality is, she was a huge reason why people tuned into WWE, WWF during the Attitude Era. It wasn't just Stone Cold Steve Austin, okay? I'm telling you, these women, the way they look or whatever, this was a big factor. So yes, I'm going to say Sable and her impact. I'm going to say China, of course, because China, I mean, they built her up. 8th wonder of the world or 9th wonder of the world.
9th wonder of the
whatever
world.
it is. Yeah, like, and China could go out there and beat the fuck out of the dudes, you know? China is a big part of that. I'm going to go ahead and say Lita, because to me, Lita was someone that would go out there and take ridiculous bumps, right? Like, how many other women have really gone out there and done what she's done in terms of mainstream wrestling and taken those kind of beatings that Lita took? She took the 3D and she took all kinds of shit, right?
At that time, nobody, but Sasha has easily.
Right now, Sasha is not going to be on my Mount Rushmore yet because it's too early for her, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
She doesn't creep that. And you guys are going to hate it because I'm going to skip over Trish, even though I love Trish. And I'm going to go ahead and put someone who, like I said, my list will be hated. Nikki Bella is going to be on there because in this time period, in this era, who Nikki is in terms of mainstream and how much – I don't like Nikki Bella. I'm just going to be honest. I don't. I'm not a fan. But who she is and how people seem to like her and what she's kind of done with, you know, that the Total Bellas,
Yes.
Total Divas, all that shit, that matters. These are things that draw female eyes into wrestling, in my opinion. I think she is a part of that. So I'm going to say the worst list ever, but it's Sable, it's China, it's Lita, it's Nikki Bella.
It's not the worst list ever. Your list is perfect for considering impact. Your list has probably, well, Lita is more impactful than Trish, but for the point you're trying to make, the most impactful for women in each category you picked. Let me stick up for the Nikki Bella pick real quick. Let me stick up for that. I understand that the IWC is sick of the Bellas, or never really gave them any respect, but y'all don't understand what Total Divas means to so many women. Y'all don't understand what the fearless moniker that Nikki wears means to so many women. So many women out here in the world now who never cared about wrestling care about wrestling because they watch Total Divas, and that's almost solely because of Nikki. So I gotta give you credit. I would have never gone there because I was thinking more in ring than anything. But yes,
right.
What Nikki has accomplished outside of the ring for the company, like Total Divas, like I already gave you I said this before a long time ago, but I think Total Divas is what started the revolution. Because Total Divas showed Vince that people care about women.
Right.
Right? If to be 2-3 billion people are watching a show about women, something's about them.
To be clear about that, I just want to say, and that's no disrespect to Brie, because Brie is her sister, and you know Brie is part of that too. If
Matt
I
and
could
Jeff.
split that last piece of Rushmore in half,
No,
I'd throw Brie on there as
No.
well. But I think it's more Nikki than it is
Matt
Brie.
and Jeff, Edge and Christian, Janetti
Right.
and Janetti,
Yeah.
Michaels and Janetti, Bubba and Devon.
Absolutely.
It's a drastic difference between the two.
Right. I just don't want anybody to think that I'm disrespecting Brie in that regard because, she matters. She's a part of this in some way.
If
You know what I mean?
if you were to say, oh well, Bubba Ray's one of the best heels I've ever seen in wrestling, nobody will say, well, what about Devon? Because they know how good Bubba
Right.
is. So yeah,
Right.
nobody's gonna sit here and say, well, Brie deserves. No, Brie's good in her own right. Nikki, she's not Nikki.
I'm upset by your disrespect to Christian, man. I dug Christian.
I did too, but he's nowhere close to Edge. And if you listen
Yeah,
to the
he's
podcast,
not Edge.
Christian even jokes about that. He's nowhere close to Edge.
He knows.
He knows it.
He knows. And that's okay.
Oh,
They've all had success
Yeah.
in their own right.
Yeah. So, you guys want to get this last question out of the way, pal?
Let's do
Yes.
All right. This one's from Facebook. One John Edward. Thanks for asking, John. He asked us, and I quote, and this is a good one to end on. Why'd Cindy Lou Who have to be such a meddling little snob? You guys got an answer?
I don't know who the
Are
fuck
you
that is.
kidding me? Whoa. First of all, I just want you to know that I am a huge How the Grinch Stole Christmas fan. Okay? This is, it's no Charlie Brown Christmas, but it is up there. Cindy Lou Who, guys, if I can get on my soapbox,
Oh God.
she wasn't meddling. She was bringing the Christmas spirit to a lost soul. Okay? That's what she was doing. She wanted everyone to enjoy Christmas. I can't imagine any of our listeners, any of our fans, my friends, Rance, my friend Caleb, I can't imagine them having a terrible Christmas. That makes me sad when I think about that.
Well, I don't. We've discussed this. I don't like Christmas. I'm a Festivus guy.
Well, that's because you're a racist, you're an atheist or whatever you are. Okay? Listen, this is all about Christmas.
Seinfeld, Mark.
I'm fucking with you. Keep Christ in Christmas, okay? Let me just throw that out there. I'm just kidding. Well, kind of. But anyways, listen. Christmas isn't about all that. It's about being happy. You don't want to be lonely on Christmas. Nobody wants to be at home by themselves on Christmas Day. Cindy Lou Who was not a meddling snot, okay? She just wanted to make sure everyone enjoyed Christmas. That's all it was. So, poop on that question. Cindy Lou Who is outstanding, okay? She's a great person, and we should all strive to be more like Cindy Lou Who.
Rance.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Beat that answer.
You know who Cindy Lou Who should put over?
Who?
Nikki Bella. No, I don't. Until you said who she was, I didn't know who she was. I'm not one of those people who watch movies like The Grinch Who Stole Christmas and remember the motherfuckers' names. I'm not sitting there like, oh, what's that? Whose name is that? Polly Chris who? I don't need to know their names. It's The Grinch.
That's offensive.
You never forget names like Cindy Lou Who,
I did.
Ebenezer Scrooge, or Tiny Tim. You don't forget those names. Just doesn't happen.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah, sure, pal. Oh, man. If I could give a real serious answer real quick, John, I don't know. I think she should have maybe kept her nose out of the Grinch's business, but oh well. Yeah, it happens.
For the record.
It's fine, guys. You know what, SMC podcast fans? I'm the only one that's going to give you the real answers around here. It's fine.
For the record, the Grinch wasn't bothering nobody. He did all that shit while they were asleep. So,
yep.
He didn't really just let that man handle his business.
Wait.
He didn't ruin your Christmas at 3 a.m. He ruined your Christmas at 9 a.m. when you woke up.
Wait. I believe you said the Grinch didn't bother nobody.
He didn't.
Whoa! We watched the same movie?
Same movie.
Motherfucker out here stealing Christmas trees,
Yeah.
taking presents,
Yeah.
taking the last
What I
can
think-
of Who Hash.
What I
Are you
think
kidding
you
me?
Carl, I'm not gonna agree with Rance on that
on.
point.
Hold
I
on.
will say that.
If anything, you should applaud that man and how efficient he was in what he did, because he did that
Now,
very
listen.
quickly.
I'm gonna give you that much. He was quite efficient. Okay, give me that man when it comes to like labor supply.
I
and
need to
things
move.
Like that.
I
I'm
need to move
down.
to a new house. I'm calling the Grinch, because that man did that fast.
Okay, I'll give you that much. I'll give you that much.
God.
Shout out to
Only-
the Grinch. Shout out to Dr. Seuss, the man.
Shout out to the Grinch. I love that.
Only on the SMC podcast are you gonna hear the three of us really debate the philosophical truths about the Grinch that stole Christmas.
Yes. Hey
Outstanding.
Grinch, if you want to appear on the podcast, get in touch with us. We'll make shit happen.
Oh
Yes,
my God.
yes.
Oh my God, that's the Christmas episode.
Man.
The Christmas
We're-
episode.
We're having fun. Yeah, that is the Christmas episode. We're having fun here, guys. But at some point in time, I guess the fun's got to end. If you
Yeah.
guys don't mind, Carl. So what do you got, man? Get your credentials. Where can we find you, etc.
Well, I don't have many credentials, but I do hang around the tweeter machine. You can find me at Kervin SMC KERVIN SMC. I'm going to tweet. It's going to be some hot takes. It's going to be some garbage takes. It's going to be some fire takes. It's going to be all kinds of good kinds of takes. Come follow me. I try not to blow up your timeline too much, but that's pretty much where you can find me. Slide in the DMs if you need to. I'm going to shit on you, but do
Carl,
what you do, you
You're
know?
married, sir.
I don't mean like that. Just,
That's
you
the
know,
only
guys,
way it
girls,
means.
doesn't matter.
That's the only way it means.
No, I
That
don't
is
mean
the
like
one meaning.
What are you
Yeah,
talking
I'm
about?
Listen. I'm starting a new trend. If you want to talk about wrestling, you slide in the DMs. You know?
No,
Oh
it's not
my
the
God.
same. No.
Listen. Things change. Listen, I'm starting a trend, boys. Okay, starting a trend.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, that's
When you're in
that's where you find
counseling,
me.
when you're in counseling with your wife, tell her that's what you. Tell her that's the reason. But baby,
I'll let
I
her
was
know.
starting
Yeah,
a
I'll let her know.
trend.
Hey, it's like the old school where Will Ferrell's like, you know, is she wearing silk panties? Is she wearing pink panties or whatever? You know, it's kind of like that.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
Rance, where can we find you?
Well, first and foremost, you guys can find me at It's Ray Cash, REY as in Ray, as in Mysterio, CASH as in dollars. But I also would like to give you guys the rundown on the rest of this month for the SMC podcast.
Yes, do it.
Next week, you will be getting our special end of year episode where we will be giving out awards, our best and worst of many different situations and whatnot.
Yep.
The week after that, you will be getting a special canned episode. In respect, actually works perfectly to our dearly departed Jim Johnston.
Yes.
Our favorite and most
Theme
hated
music.
musical accompaniments, if that's how you say the word.
Yes. Yes.
Of the
Top 5 and
yes.
top 5 best and worst of
Yes.
the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s.
And the final show of the year will be a special social suplex group podcast in which we all decided to have a social suplex fantasy draft. Please look forward to that because that was a very big undertaking and I think you guys will love it. And we will start back. Yes, sir.
And I'm going to bury some people on that episode, just FYI.
Yes. Oh, it's going to be glorious. And what it's looking like everybody's going to do is we're going to have the main podcast, but every show seems to be recording their own extended version of their picks. But yeah, look forward to that, and then we'll start back fresh first week of January with a Wrestle Kingdom review with Keeping It Strong style host Young Boy Josh Smith.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I won't be there for that one, but after we get going, after that, I'll be back around.
We replace one
Carl,
white guy with another white guy. Nobody's gonna notice.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Just a not quite as good looking white guy as me.
Are you kidding me?
Young boy is
You
pretty
kidding
cute.
me?
Young boy is pretty cute.
Josh Smith is a handsome fella, yeah.
Here's the deal. He doesn't have the facial hair,
No.
the grooming, the nice.
No,
That's
he doesn't.
what's so awesome.
He doesn't, but both of his eyes look straight.
Oh my God.
All right. I'm starting my own podcast, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'll see y'all another time. It's fine.
Okay. Guys, you can find me at SMC_CalB. We've got a host of other shows on this network as well. As always, follow the main site on Twitter at Social Suplex. Check out the Social Suplex website at socialsuplex.com. socialsuplex.com. We have Keeping It Strong Style. That's our New Japan show hosted by the Young Boy and Jeremy Donovan, our boss, if you will. That's Keeping It Strong Style. We have our Resident Scotland podcast, Ricky and Clive and Friends Wrestling Show. Follow them at Ricky and Clive. The big brother, the OG podcast of this network, One Nation Radio, at One Nation Radio on Twitter. All of these episodes of these podcasts can be found on YouTube. Subscribe to One Nation Wrestling. Subscribe to the Social Suplex Podcast Network wherever you download your podcast. Once again, I'm going to end it as I always do. Thank you for listening. We appreciate every listen, every download we get. Have a good night, and God bless you.